What's good, everybody? It's Jack here with Mike, talking a little Bears action here. We got a big game Monday night, another national spot against the Patriots on the road in New England. Last week was ugly, no other way to put it. Our keys that we kind of went over, we mentioned the Bears defense playing better early on, making those adjustments earlier in the game as opposed to the second halves, which the defense, has been, dominant really. They got off to a good start. They played excellent top to bottom. Another key that we mentioned was Velus Jones Jr. getting a little more involved in the offense. Um, you know, Unfortunately, he did get some more snaps, which I guess might have been what we were looking for. But he very arguably was the major key to defeat, coughing up another punt. I can't imagine that they'll give him another opportunity back there, at least in the punt return game. You got to secure the ball. If he gets out there again, I almost think it's on coaching more so than it is on him. He's proven that he can't handle that responsibility. Embarrassing, pitiful, pathetic, whatever adjective you want to use, not good. The last key was, a rough and rowdy crowd protecting home field. They had been 2-0 at home previously. I think that part was solid. They felt like they did have a good, home atmosphere. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the job done. Mike, you were in the building.
Yes.
Maybe speak to what the crowd was like, how it felt at Soldier Field, especially how it felt walking out after not converting that Mooney drop pass in the end zone. And give me your thoughts. What are you thinking about how we're heading into Week 7?
So as far as the crowd goes, I mean it was a Thursday night game. The tailgate was strong. Uh Really the crowd was strong until Valus muffed that punt. And then it really sucked the hope out of the building. I mean, while it was not a pretty game last week, that was such a winnable game and we could have been 3-3. Granted, probably the worst 3-3 in the NFL, but could have been 3-3 after that game. There's no reason not to win that game. You talk about the three keys. I would argue that two of those three were home runs. The defense showed up big time. The crowd showed up big time. And really, if you look at the stats, the Bears kind of dominated the game. Um, it's just those turnovers. We talked about it, I think, the week before when they were an underdog going to Minnesota. That turnover battle, you win that by two, anything could happen. Well, they lost it by two, and they just lost the game that they should have won. Obviously, the one turnover, or I don't know if that's even considered the turnover, the muff punt. Is that considered the turnover?
Yeah,
Got to be, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that muff punt where Valus loses the ball in, I think it was at the 6 yard line after letting so many punts bounce before that. The lack of awareness and decision making that went into him trying to field that punt is mind blowing, and that's legitimately what cost them the game. They had almost 400 yards of offense to Washington's 214. They had more first downs. They had more time of possessions. Really, it just came down to turnovers. That first turnover too, the Justin Fields off the helmet. Um, I've heard a couple different pros break down that play, saying that he went for a sidearm and it's just not what you should be doing there. You got to have a perfect lane to be doing the sidearm. It's a mistake, but that's one mistake on what I thought was overall a pretty decent showing by him. Um, I think overall the Bears looked all right, obviously against one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think the two main things are just the turnovers, and then the second thing is when you're playing against a team like that, where you know they only score 12 points, you know they're not going to score more than 20 probably. Some of those times where they're like going for it on fourth or like getting maybe a little aggressive, it's okay to take some field goals. Like if we win that game 16 to 9, like I think Bears fans are sitting here pretty happy. So I don't know. It was a very disappointing loss. Um, do I have hopes for the Bears this year? Realistically, even if they win that, no. If they're at 3-3, you're probably still hoping for like 7-9 with signs of improvements, 6-11 with signs of improvements. But that being said, would have liked to get a win, especially when you're playing one of the shit teams in the NFL. You like to beat them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Commanders are bad. I think it's just one of those things that when you're at home playing a team that's as poor as them, it's almost just like, for lack of a better way to put it, it's almost like a winning culture
Yeah,
type situation. That's just at home against that bad of an opponent. That's just one of those situations where you feel like you got to get it across the line and come out on top.
yeah,
Two quick comments kind of about what you alluded to. I agree. I mean, you got to protect the ball in the red zone so that, interception is never going to be good by any stretch. But, trying to make a play, shit's going to happen down there. It's, part of the game. I was a little more, worried about that missed throw he had to the tight end. Um, I'm tweaking on his name, Griffin or
Griffin.
whatever.
I've also
Yeah.
heard, so the same guys I heard talk negative about that interception off the helmet, both guys actually were putting more of the issue on that play on the tight end than on Justin Fields.
Okay, well that's fine. They can say whatever they want to say. He was wide ass
I
open
agree.
when Justin Fields missed him. Yeah, I don't disagree. I've heard some of the same stuff,
Yeah,
but I'm done. I'm sick of the Justin Fields truthers. It's becoming like Mitch, man. I'm sick of the excuse making. When you miss a guy that wide open for a touchdown, it's
I
on
agree.
you. I don't care what anybody who played should have said. You can't tell me I'm Ray Charles and I can't see.
I
So
agree. That should have been a touchdown.
he's
100%.
wide open. You got to make the play. That was the only thing about Fields that really bothered me more so than the interception, though. To be honest, I did think he showed some glimpses of a threat that he is that no one else in the league can really measure up to, other than maybe like a Lamar Jackson type with stuff that he's been able to do with his legs. Not that I necessarily love that in a franchise quarterback, but I think if you can kind of hone those skills and utilize them in dire times when it needs to be had, but kind of develop that pocket presence. I'm starting to see some things ever since that Giants week. I feel like he has been building momentum
Yep.
slowly but surely. It's a long development process. I'm going to continue to try to be patient, and I think overall, I would say I was mostly encouraged with a lot of what he did. I will say I was watching. There was a lot of times in the broadcast where Herb Street was kind of alluding to the fact that, hey, this guy's open now, type of thing. Even though he made the play, the ball should be out now. So I do think he kind of needs to get more so in that vein of reacting. Not so much thinking out there. But I think he's taking those baby steps. Hopefully, he'll continue to develop and give ourselves a shot at a long-term solution at that position that we're all so desperate for. The other thing that you mentioned about taking points in that game, I agree with your logic in the sense of it's going to be low scoring. Why not take the points when you have the opportunity to get them? In the same breath, though, I'm one of those people who every time they don't go for it, I'm like, why not go for it? Why not try to get the offense to learn? Why not put Justin Fields in those positions where he has the opportunity to develop? So I can't really, bang on both sides of that drum. While I got nothing against your logic, it does make perfect sense. I'm also not going to bash him for being aggressive and, in my opinion, trying to develop the quarterback and letting the offense grow.
My only concern with that, and I get your thinking with development, when you start doing stuff to force development, is it the right way to develop? Or do we develop the right way and it happens or it doesn't? Like, I don't know. I see your point and it's valid, but maybe get a little momentum. Maybe if they're sitting 3-3 and he feels like he had a halfway decent game, maybe that does something for his mental. Otherwise, the other scenario is you have what you have now, where he's talking about, oh, he's sick of being, almost there, or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's so tough. It's so tough. It really is, and that's why they get paid big bucks, and a lot of them still suck. Coaches and quarterbacks, because it's a really hard fucking thing to do and hard thing to navigate. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it's very tough. I think for me, it's more so uh, I guess the easiest way to put it is you're playing the Commanders. Like, who
Right.
cares if you don't convert? You should still win the game. I guess that's
Sure.
kind of my thinking of, like, you don't convert, you're giving the ball back to a washed up Carson
Yeah, on
Wentz
the 1 yard
and
line or
a
whatever it
bad
is.
Commanders
Right.
team. So I guess that's my line of thinking is like,
I'm with you.
You can afford to take those types of risks against those types of teams.
Sure.
Whereas I do agree, at different situational football, you're playing a better opponent, and depending on what's going on in the game, you don't need to force certain things. So
Right.
that makes sense to me.
I got you.
But here we are. We're 2-4, disappointing 2-4 to say the least.
Yeah.
Starting to unfortunately go down that road less traveled of contemplating whether or not losses are a better thing as long as we're competitive type of situation. But I haven't completely lost hope on the season. I'd still like to see them turn it around. I never really believe tanking actually works out, especially in a sport like football where things can turn so quickly season to season with so much parity in the league. But heading into New England this weekend, going to be a tough game. I'm not sure. I think Bailey Zappi's probably going to be the starter, but you can't get in an argument with me and tell me that the Patriots have any more talent than the Bears do. They're very similarly talented teams. There's just one who has the best coach of all time and one team who has a completely new staff, learning on the fly, trying to figure it out. So, with that being said, I think it's going to be a tall task on the road in New England. The game is handicapped as such. But, Mike, what are your keys for the Bears to go into Foxborough and nip that 8-point buffer in the bud?
All right. So I was optimistic with the Commanders. I was pessimistic with the Vikings. Pessimistic with the Packers. Pessimistic with the Niners. But positive with the Giants game. Positive with the Texans. You know, I'm not looking. I don't see a way we win this game. I don't know if I can come up with keys to a victory. So what I'm gonna do is do my best to highlight some things, um, but I'm not quite sure they're gonna be keys to victory. It's just gonna be maybe more a couple things I'm looking at in this game. The first one, I think it's been in every video that I've talked about, but it's confirmed this week that there's going to be a change at the interior offensive line. So it is confirmed that either the center, the left guard, or the right guard, there's going to be a change or multiple changes. So I'm looking at that to see what the change is going to be. If I had to guess, Sam Mustipher and Lucas Patrick have been less than impressive in their game time so far. It's been apparent through these videos. I'm going to go ahead and guess that they're going to switch Patrick to center. And then I'll be interested to see what they do with the left guard if that's the case. Do they give Leatherwood a chance at left guard? Do they just switch Mustipher over and maybe think that maybe does something for him? Do they bring in a guy like Ja'Tyre Carter that don't even really know who the guy is? So
going deep on the depth.
I mean, we'll see. I think it's confirmed that there's 100% going to be a change, at least to start the game. So I'm going to be looking at, does this combo look any better? Because right now it's looking like, and it's been confirmed that Mustipher just isn't it long term. Maybe Patrick looks better at center than he's looked at guard, but if he looks as bad at center as he's looked at guard, then he's not a guy long term. So I'm just hoping that somebody shows me something and they look a little bit better there because New England's defense is going to be tough. They shut out Detroit a couple weeks ago when Detroit went to Foxborough. I have very real concerns about the Bears being able to produce anything on offense this week. Interior offensive line, what's the change going to be? Do they look any better? That's the first thing I'm looking at.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think we talked about it on, I think it was week 2, we were at a wedding, but I think week 3, the second video we made, we kind of talked about Patrick sort of rehabbing, recovering from that hand injury or thumb injury, whatever it was, that kind of moved him to guard as opposed to center since he couldn't snap the ball or wasn't comfortable snapping the ball. But we discussed the fact that, that is one of the guys that they intentionally signed for the center position. I'm hoping that's the change because he has been atrocious at left guard. The only thing he's done is gone backwards every snap. But I think that'll be something to see if he can be a little more viable at center. Like you said, I have no idea what the left guard solution will be. The only comment you made about Leatherwood, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't he got involved in some sort of like
So he had
personal issues or something?
so he had mono. That was what was kept keeping him out for a little while. Obviously, we signed him from the Raiders, but the Raiders put him on waivers. We claimed him off of waivers. He got
Yeah, he was a
mono.
right tackle,
He
right?
was a right tackle in college, and he was playing right tackle in the NFL. He was not looking good in the NFL. But that being said, and when he got drafted, he was like a late first round pick, or middle first round pick. I'm pretty sure it was like one of those reach picks where everybody immediately was like, "Oh wow, that seems kind of high." But anyway, when we picked him up, he got mono shortly after. So I don't know how much practice he was able to really get while he was dealing with the mono. And then this last Saturday, so not even a week ago, he got into a car accident, but I'm pretty sure it's come out that there's no foul play. Everybody's fine. He's not hurt. So I think everything's good with that. But he was confirmed like in an accident. So
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, no, I know that I had heard exactly that. I think, like you said, I knew he was in a car accident. I didn't know how serious it was. So when you said maybe Leatherwood, I was just throwing it out there that I'm not sure that's an option.
Yeah,
But
and
sounds like
honestly,
he's completely fine
and
though.
honestly, I would be surprised if he's the guy if that's the so I'm kind of assuming Patrick to center is the move that we're gonna see. I'm hoping that's the move we're gonna see. And then they're gonna figure out who to plug at left guard. Leatherwood's probably like the second or third guy. He's probably not the first guy. The first guy's probably like a backup guard we already have on the roster. So maybe Schofield, maybe whoever it might be. Um,
I hope it's not
yeah, he
Schofield.
didn't look very good either. But we'll see what change they make, and we'll see if it does any good for them. On a positive, our running game has been really good all year. Obviously, that's probably supplemented by some of Justin Fields' scrambling ability, padding that stat a little bit. But I think I saw that we have like the second best rush attack through 6 weeks. So while it's not beautiful, obviously we probably are like last or damn near last in passing. We do got some something working with the running game. All the run blocking stats I've seen, our run blocking's pretty good. We just struggle in pass pro. We'll see if this change makes any difference. Also, you and me and Chaconi and whoever else talked about it during this week. There is fact that Fields holds onto the ball just too long, and there's fact that back that up. So some of this national narrative that the offensive line is really bad, it might be a little more on Justin Fields than people realize, but I digress. Interior offensive line, let's see what change they make, and let's see if it makes any difference.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a big factor for any team, especially the Chicago Bears team right now and the direction they're headed, and the constant focal point of whether or not Justin Fields can be the guy going forward. I agree 100% with what you said. Kind of goes back to my point about no more thinking out there. You got to react. You know, by the time if you see, so I heard some quote from I wish I could give credit to the name, but it was someone talking about how in the NFL, if you see a guy is open, it's too late. He's
Like,
not
yeah,
open
you got to
anymore.
anticipate.
Right. So you got to get rid of that ball, and hopefully the line can hold up good enough to give him the opportunities to do so.
For
All
sure.
right, moving right along. Let's jump back into it.
All right.
We got to have that interior line lock up. What's
Yeah.
key number 2?
All right, so the second thing I'm looking at, and once again, this isn't necessarily a key to victory. I don't really know if I could come up with keys to victory this week. If I were, it'd probably just be like the typical got to win the turnover battle by a couple, need a special teams play, need an act of God. So I'm not really going to go. I'm not going to go too much into the keys to victory. I'm going to go into the things I'm looking at. The next thing I'm looking at is I think Zappy's the starter, like you said. He tore it up last week in Cleveland against a Cleveland defense, which is not bad. it's really not a bad defense. I think it's maybe, and part of it's probably due to some of the quarterback play and offense play. It's maybe taking a step back from last year when they were really one of the top defenses, but they're still a pretty good defense. And Bailey Zappi last week went out and threw for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, and while he was doing that, it's not like the Patriots have top tier names at receiver and tight end. Sure, Hunter Henry's a nice piece, and sure, Devontae Parker's not a bad receiver. He's probably, at this point in his career, probably on line with Darnell Mooney. But he's spreading it around to like Jacoby Myers and Jonnu Smith and, Ramondre Stevenson, like guys that aren't really household names. So I'm interested to see if Zappi builds on that and if he continues to look like the real deal. And then secondly, kind of in the same vein as that, let's see how our defense does against him. Let's see if Jalen Johnson's able to lock down a guy like Devontae Parker, which in theory maybe he should be able to. And let's see if we can't do better than the Cleveland defense did against the Patriots last week. That's kind of the second thing I'm looking at is how Zappi plays against our defense. He's a rookie, but he's playing really well. Are we able to identify some things that maybe make life tough on him? Can some of our star players step up, make life tough on him? And then just as a fan of football with not too high of aspirations for the Bears this year, let's see how Bailey Zappi does. I'm kind of fascinated by the young man, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm actually around a lot of the chatter a little bit, just being out where I am. But it's not that anyone is going as far as to compare the Bledsoe Brady situation, but there is kind of a groundswell of like, Zappi, maybe he's the guy, and people are like looking to move Mac Jones right along, which is kind of funny to see because he had a pretty stellar rookie year, really, all things considered.
Yep.
But yeah, no, he's been impressive, certainly. I think the coaching staff helps quite a bit. It is interesting. They got a special teams coach and a defensive coordinator who are duo offensive coordinators in New England with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. But they're getting the job done. Belichick always seems to find a way. And I agree, though. The defense that's our, the focal point of it. Every week, that's the one thing that has the opportunity to keep us in the games. I don't think our offense is built to run away from anybody. But, like you said, Devontae Parker is, he's good. He's got a ton of speed. He's proven it in a couple places now. He's played well down in Miami, and he's off to a good start in New England. But like I said at the start of this conversation, that New England team in general, talent-wise, is, in my opinion, fairly level with the Bears. So, I isolate Devontae Parker. Hopefully Jalen Johnson can shut him down and, take some pride in winning your head-to-head matchups. Go out there, keep it close, give your offense a chance, and you never know. We'll see what happens. What do you got for maybe not necessarily key to victory number 3, but point number 3 that gives us a chance to survive?
Sure. So last week we got to see how this rookie coaching staff did on a short week. Well, now we got a long week. It's not the bye week yet, but we got a couple extra days given that we played on Thursday and we're going to a Monday. So you get an extra couple days. What did they use those to do? How do they look? Are they going to be prepared? Obviously, they're going to New England, where they're going up against one of the best coaches to ever coach football. One of the best coaches. One of the best coaches in all of sports history, in theory. He's going to be ready for you, so our coaching staff better be ready for him. Do I know exactly what that means? No, but I just hope that they look prepared. I hope they don't look lost. I hope they don't look embarrassing. I think a lot of Bears fans going into this week probably not expecting to win. Let's see if they can't go in there, look competent, look professional, put up a good fight, and have a good showing in New England. Does that necessarily mean a win? No, but a tight game where we're not putting up like 9 points. We don't want to see 9-12 loss. We want to see let's get to close to 20 at least. Let's see some stuff. Let's put some stuff together. First drive, let's be solid. Let's have a game plan. Let's make some adjustments. Hell, maybe you get lucky, you get out there with a dub. Anything could happen. That's why you play the games. But just unlikely. But let's just not look embarrassing. That's on a long week. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, amen. I mean, I think it's a point well taken. You know, you kind of said as far as comparing coaches cross sports, I don't really love to get into that sort of
Sure.
debate. Different games, different things matter. It's it's a very long, complicated, a lot of lose lose type of arguments. But as
Sure.
far as football itself goes, I mean, I'll go as far as to say Belichick is the greatest coach that has ever graced the game,
Yeah.
and
At least at the professional
his
level.
absolutely, and his record against the first time he plays quarterbacks. Not that Justin Fields is technically a rookie quarterback since it's his second year, but the first time a quarterback sees Belichick's defense, that record is ugly and like bad ugly. Like I mean Justin Herbert, I think they beat the Chargers last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I think it was like 44-0 or something. He just always has something for a quarterback who's never seen him before that leaves him reeling. He's out there with his head spinning, no idea what's going on. Confuses the hell out of him and gets him into a lot of trouble. So I think that coaching matchup that you're alluding to is very interesting. And I'm more so excited to see kind of a test for Justin Fields. If he looks, yeah, he doesn't even have to look good per se. If he comes out looking decent, makes a couple plays, keeps him in it, doesn't look like a world beater, but also doesn't, go out there and embarrass himself. I think that's a big positive.
Oh,
And
yeah.
from my perspective, just because I do carry so much weight in what Belichick brings to the table and the way his defense can, attack the opposing team. But I think it's a big week for Fields to, you know, kind of go out there and, like you said, not as long as he doesn't embarrass himself. I think I might come away from this week, regardless of the result, being like, all right, I could be, positive. Maybe as this guy continues to move along, maybe he can be the one to sort of figure it out.
Yeah, that goes for him and the coaching staff, right? Like, just go out there. Don't look like the Cleveland game from Nagy's regime last year. Like, go out there, look like a professional outlet. Does it mean a win? No, not necessarily. But go out there and don't look like, you know, a JV team. Look like you belong in the NFL, and let's see how it goes.
Yep. Amen, my man. All right, so we got three keys to victory. We're still sticking with that for the term, but we want to
Yeah.
see what's going on with that interior line. Interested to see what those confirmed changes are. I respect that they're going to play close to the vest. That is a good sign of a good coaching staff, in my opinion. No reason to tell anybody your business, but maybe Lucas Patrick moves to his signed position in center. See what's going on at left guard. If there's any changes on the right side of that line, hopefully they can hold up a little better, give us more of an opportunity to make some plays on the offensive end of the ball. Second key the second key was the defense. We got to lock them down, keep it in the game. Our defense is always going to be that focal point, considering our weapons on offense are lacking. We got to have some of the guys step up, and Roquan and Robert Quinn are veteran players. Jalen Johnson shutting people down. And then that third and final key, the coaching staff continue to build upon what seems like some, positive foundation that they've laid for the most part. At least, like Mike said, look like a professional club out there, take care of business, give ourselves an opportunity. And then, we got N'Keal Harry, revenge game, baby.
I'd love to see him get out there, catch some balls, man. We need
Get on the
somebody.
field,
Yeah, we need somebody
give him
to.
some snaps.
Yeah, we need somebody to step up. I think last week, before talking about the game, we were reminiscing about the Vikings game a little bit, and I gave Pettis some hard times. He came out, he caught a 40-yard touchdown, so maybe he's the guy. But Need some people to start stepping up. Obviously it's a team game. Football is very funny that way. It requires the line to block, requires the quarterback to process stuff, but we need some guys to make some plays. So let's see if N'Keal Harry can get in the game and make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out there, go into Foxborough. You never know. If Getzey can script a solid first 15, we go out, jump on him a little early. Bailey Zappi, yeah, he's looked good, had some early success, but he is a rookie.
He's a rookie.
He was playing at a junior college no less than 2 years ago. I mean, you never know. Jump on them early, get them rattled a little bit. They'll start, now that they had a good couple weeks in a row, maybe they start feeling a little pressure, especially at home. Some big time favorites. I think it's 8, maybe even 8.5 right now. Put some heat on them. Maybe they'll make some mistakes. Give yourselves an opportunity. Any last thoughts, Mike?
No, I mean you nailed it. You know, we didn't really talk too much about keys this week, but we can win some turnovers, score some points. You never know what happens. Get a lead. Make them play from behind. Anything could happen. So I'll be tuning in like always. I'll be rooting them on. Let's just pray to God that they don't embarrass us. That's all.
Yeah, be respectable. Cover that 8 points. Lose by less than a touchdown. I think that's kind of right in the sweet spot of realistic expectations. But enjoy the game, everybody. It's a Monday night. Gotta love the Monday night games. Always a good opportunity to soak it in on a national scale. I don't know how much more the Bears deserve to be.
They don't deserve any of them.
But they're always, it's still one of the biggest markets out there, so they're always going to get them. I think it might be the last scheduled one of the year. Or are they on Thanksgiving again?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we only got a couple more of these national spots. Like we said, don't embarrass yourselves. Go out there, play well, stay in it, and you never know. Give yourselves a chance at the end of the day, and we'll see what happens. All right, Mike, you have a good night, my brother.
You too,
And let's take care of business on Monday. Bears.
Bears.